More or Nothing.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of More or Nothing with Ryan and Max. They are back from their French adventure. Those of you who've been following on Instagram and across social media will have a lot of questions, as I do. Firstly, though, obviously, a huge thank you to our sponsors, NordVPN. I'm assuming you've all already bought your NordVPN. There's a discount code just come up, nordvpn.com/mall. Get that mall in there. You get 4 months for free. And as the boys were saying, you used it a lot, did you, to get on to go actually watch some rugby?
Well, in one of the dodgy little restaurants we ended up in, obviously we made a mistake. We went out for lunch, dinner / at 4:30, so nowhere was open. We found a really dodgy little place. They didn't have the rugby on to start with, obviously, but we managed to download it because we had NordVPN. So we actually watched on our phone. Can I say BBC iPlayer? Is it like? Am I allowed to say that? Well, we did. We managed to watch the rugby through NordVPN, which was fantastic. Until we managed to convince the bloke that he did have a TV and they put it on in there. So yeah, we used it. Real life usage of NordVPN, and we used our discount code because
too easy.
It was, but there you go. So we got 4 months free. So thank you.
VPN in the world. Thank you, NordVPN. Price of a cup of coffee per month. Get it done. Get on there. That code won't be there forever, and you won't get those 4 free months, and you'll be kicking yourself saying, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I do that? When you're looking up dodgy stuff after you've been on a massive night out, and the next day you're like, oh, I wish I had NordVPN.
That, mate, you can't say that.
I'm just saying. You don't. There's no qualifying of what dodgy is. Someone's dodgy is somebody else's normal day. So there we go. Anyway, your mind goes to the gutter. But, fellas, okay, as far as most people know, your social media has been very, very amusing to the low level of how much planning had gone into you guys going to France.
Well, that's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair at all, because the amount of planning that I put into this was massive.
Significant.
You do realise I had to book flights for me and the videographer. Had to give Max like a big baby. That's what we're calling him now. Big bitty baby. Had to give him times to try and stick to. Mate, if you can make this train, then you'll make it here in time. He had to get a train across to Heathrow. We had to go and pick up a car. We sent a car from here all the way to Heathrow. There was Eurotunnel that I had to book. There was hotels I had to book. The one thing we overlooked, the one small thing, was the electric charging situation. And I was told that this car had 230 miles usage when it was fully charged. Turns out, with 2 big rugby players, a videographer on the way there, didn't make it back. No, he did. That then slightly things would change. And also driving on a motorway, that it wasn't taken into consideration. Also, I didn't quite understand how to charge it. But I just thought, like any normal bloke, Max, got to be fair to me, we'd just turn up and plug it in. Like, how fucking hard could it have been?
It was, yeah. But it turned out to be a conundrum, didn't it? It got us in a little bit of a pickle.
But you know why it got us in a pickle, right? Is because, again, just did what any normal bloke did. It was, we'll work it out. Just got in the car, just started driving, right? And then it started eating away at the battery. Got to the Eurotunnel, and we're like, should we charge it? And we were like, we've only got 10 minutes till we're on the train. So we're like looking around, trying to plug it in, don't know how it works. We'll just charge it when we get through there. Go through, get through, obviously can't find anywhere to charge. So we're like, we're all hungry now. We'll just drive to the next closest town. So we pull into this town, and then it just descended, because then we obviously went for dinner and then we couldn't charge it. It was just, well, what we don't want to do, Max, is give too much away here, because there is a vlog coming, the French adventure. We've got to give it a name yet. Like, wade into the comments below if you did see any of my Instagram social media stuff. Let us know what you think we should be calling this vlog, because there was enough of a taste there to let people realise what happened. I mean, the highlight, what did we say the low light was? Was it the crack den, or was it?
Yeah, but in hindsight, all right, at the time, the low light was the crack den. However, in hindsight, I'm glad we didn't know how to charge the car, because it just gave us all these strange side quests, just these segues. I felt like we were playing Skyrim. We were off the main storyline. You know, we just got lost in the weeds, so to speak, and it was just great fun. I really was enamored by our tale. It was truly fun.
And also, when we talk about the low points, they became then the highest points ever. Like when it was a proper low, like we could not work out how to charge this. It's 12:30 at night. Everywhere we plug this car in, it says 4 hours. We can't work out why. We're like, what is going on? 4 hours. We can't sit in the car for 4 hours. So we ended up in this crack den, 3 little single beds, which, I mean, they were half beds, weren't they? We both got bed bugs from it. We were woken up with bites everywhere. I had to sleep in my coat. But it was one of the funniest experiences of my life. I'm just like,
you were laughing at my discomfort.
Yeah. And then the next low light was when Perry, the videographer, came into the room on Sunday morning and said, boys, 9 o'clock, bang, 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 bang. We're like, what is that? Open the door. He's only just rolled in because he's been lost in Paris. And he says, boys, if you've got my bag with everything, every piece of camera equipment, content, lost, gone, disappeared.
What did you? No, wait. What? Because you got to this bit when you told me. What was Max's first reaction? Because obviously you took a very positive approach to this. You're like, we have to sort this. We have to go and get it. And your exact words were, I don't care. It's been kidnapped by Albanian gangsters.
Yeah, I've gone to the door, opened it. Pez is panicking. He's got this pallor like a sheet, like a ghoul. He was rough, and he was distressed, to put it mildly. And he says that, he exclaims, "I've lost my bag, everything in it, gone." I was like, "Nah, he's joking."
I also said, mate, that's not funny.
I've got straight back into bed. And then he just starts talking to Ryan. And then Ryan's bolt upright like The Undertaker from WrestleMania. Dong. And he's just up and at it. He's like, don't worry, Pez, we're going to find a bag. We're going to get the bag. So he like gets all his clothes on. I'm like this. I'm staying in bed. Ryan goes out the door. Then he comes back. He goes, no, I need you. This could be like something out of Taken. I need you just in case there's like some Albanian people traffickers or something and they got the bag. I was like, what are you talking about? It's not Marcus from Tripoya. So we've ended up.
Hold on. Before you go any further.
What did I say?
There's an air tag in this bag. So Perry has said there's an air tag in the bag. So we're like, we can find it, but it's in Paris. I genuinely, in my brain, I'm like, Albanian gangsters. I need a henchman. This bloke, I'm like, Max, what if? Like he went, but I was good last night. I've done nothing wrong. Why should I have to come? Like a fucking child. Like a child. Like I was a good boy. I came home and I've gone to bed. I've done nothing wrong. Why am I being punished? So I actually went to walk out the door. I was like, yeah, fair enough. What? And as I what? I came back. I was like, no, you're fucking coming with me. I need you. And so he was like, yeah, okay, fair enough. Oh, God.
Wait, how hungover were you guys at this point? Because obviously this is after an entire day of watching rugby, then going to the Stade de France, watching France win, then going out on the lash. Were you seriously in a bad place?
The French nightlife, well, it starts fairly late, as you know, Mark. So we've only had about 3 hours kip at this point.
Yeah. And I only had 3 hours kip the night before as well. So we were in a bad way. We were in a very bad way. Not as bad as Perry. I don't know what I cared more about, Perry's equipment or the content.
The content. You know it's the content. But obviously it's a lot of money. Perry's equipment is worth a lot. So.
At the time, you're just like, imagine being Pez right now. Max, come on.
Did it just make you feel a little bit better for just... I know it sounds ridiculous, but you know the feeling of, oh, I'm so glad I'm not in his shoes right now.
You sicko.
You're weird.
No, I put myself in his shoes. That's my problem. I'm like, I've been there before. I know how this man feels. Yeah. I'm putting and I said to Max, deadly serious, imagine how he feels. And you could see it just resonated straight away with you. You were just like, yeah, I'm coming.
Yeah.
And then we found it I don't want to give too much away, but do we tell them where we found it? We pull up to a police station, and there it was in the police station. It had been handed in, and we celebrated, didn't we, Max? What did we celebrate with? Your
unspoiled as well. We celebrated with two very fresh peaches. Pears. And some freshly squeezed orange juice, as you do for some reason. Ryan has a weird obsession with pears whilst we were over there, because I put into his head that you should hydrate with like nutritious food rather than straight tap water. So then suddenly he was like, "Oh, that pear is juicy." So yeah, it's the most pears I've had in as many years. But anyway,
when you find yourself in the weirdest moment of your life, you're just next door to the police station in this beautiful little French.
Right. That was yesterday.
Oh my God!
Make that make sense. Does that even compute in any kind of way?
No, it
doesn't make any sense. I'm trying to recall. I'm like, that happened yesterday. No, it didn't. It did.
We were next door to the police station in a fruit market, and the bloke is making freshly squeezed orange juice for us. And these pears, I'd had one the day before, and Max, genuinely had made me think that you should hydrate through eating fruit. So I suddenly was obsessed with pears. We're just there eating pears. And then we got the giggles because we were like, I haven't had pears since... Well, Max said since 1995. He's like, now I've had 2 in 2 days. He's like, what's going on? We just, when you just get the giggles and you're just like, this is not real life.
We're just very giddy. Yeah.
Went back, had a sleep, nearly then overslept, got woke up by the hotel, and then we were pretty close to not making it back in time for our flight because we had to charge the car quite a few times again. So it was some adventure. I am actually genuinely looking forward to the vlog because we've captured everything from going into what's it called? Hotel Paradiso. That's what it felt like. It was even weirder than that. To the bed bugs, to the journey, to the charging, to the restaurants, to making Perry eat snails, and the lot. So, mate,
I can't believe somebody handed it in. Guys, to be fair, can we please just give whoever it is, the good Samaritan who handed that in, and maybe you're a listener, maybe you saw it, maybe you had a look at the footage, you're like, it's the bloody lads from All or Nothing. I'm not gonna nick this. I'm gonna hand it in. You are a hero. Let us know if anybody's heard that they, have a friend or whatever somehow chanced upon 10 grand's worth of equipment and then has handed it into a police station.
Maybe they did. Maybe they opened up the camera, looked at it and went, these boys have had enough. These boys have had enough.
They don't need this. They don't need this.
They need this back.
A huge thank you. Un grand merci.
Max, how was training today? Because, I was the epitome of dust today.
It was okay. I got it done. I was in good spirits as well. Oddly enough, I was very, very chipper.
And listen, because in case like someone like Pat ended up listening to this, it's not to do with the alcohol. It was to do with the sheer lack of sleep and travel in a small car that I was worried about, Max.
No, I feel good, mate. I feel really good. I think there's something to this. I think, I don't know, something psychosomatic happens from adventures that is just so good for the biology. Good God, I long for another already. Let's just.
We laughed yesterday. We laughed a lot at Pez's.
It was the debrief of trying to figure out where Pezza had been, like what happened to him, like when we were like interrogating him in the car.
Where did you lose him though?
We don't need to get too much into any of that. He lay the whole way back, holding onto his bag,
in like fetal position.
Clutching
it.
Never leave me again. Never leave me again.
So like Smeagol in the back there. Clutching the precious.
My precious.
But it was the journey back made me laugh a lot. And you're right, Max. There is something to do with these adventures. We've had 2 in 2 weekends now. And for me, things go from bad to worse. I've got the 2015 reunion this Thursday. Friday we have the reunion against Munster at the club, and then Saturday the reunion day out, and then Sunday I fly to Hong Kong. Max is desperate to come to Hong Kong, Mark. It's now your turn to be led astray, Mark Edwards. It is now your turn.
Happy. Looking forward
to be led astray.
I'm so jelly, boys. I'm so jelly.
You sure that isn't that hammy feeling a bit tight, Max? Just don't want to
imagine if
want to risk it
that week. Yeah, ta-ta, boys. I'm off to Hong Kong.
You can maybe come for a couple of days.
No, that's way
Mate,
too much.
you gain time on the way back. You literally are a time traveler on the way back. On the way there, bit of a time loser, if I'm honest, but on the way back, mate.
Yeah, put it like this, Max. It'll be easier and quicker to get to Hong Kong than it was to Paris.
You're not even wrong.
No, I'm not.
You're not even wrong.
You
Sam.
can sleep on the plane. Oh, it's going to be good, boys. I am looking forward to Hong Kong. I'm gutted that you're not going to be there, Max, but I am looking forward to punishing Mark.
Well, we are delighted to be joined by Six Nations winner and all-round legend in the large shape of Emmanuel Meafou. Friend of the show, Manny, congratulations, mate. What a great finish to a wonderful tournament.
Yeah, I know. It definitely wasn't what we thought it was the turnout was gonna be, but we're happy with it. We'll take it.
Just explain, where are you at the moment, mate? Is it a week?
Yeah. It's so literally the end of last week, our Ugo's put us all in a group chat, all the boys, and just said, "Look, you guys have got next week off, and do what you want, and see you on the following week." So I booked the last minute trip to Guadeloupe and just here with Mumsy and the little one. So we're enjoying the sun and the heat here. So it's been pretty good.
I just want to let me just double check this then, because I'm pretty sure Blair's had to head back, or so only for the French boys.
In that group chat, it was just the French boys, so I'm not sure what Blair and Ange's go is, but they'll have to take that up with Hugo.
Yeah, okay. So the Scots are being punished for losing, but you're being rewarded. Hey, listen, it's fair, mate. You've just won a Six Nations. How were the party scenes afterwards?
It was good, but I think for that, it's a weird one because boys, like you said, boys are going back. Boys are training on Monday, so they're trying to enjoy it after a 9 o'clock game on a Saturday. There's only so much you can do up until Sunday morning, and then Sunday morning everyone's dusty, and then Sunday night everyone's trying to get back to their club. So it was good, you're having a few with the boys, you have a good time, but it's not like at club level where everything's finished and the boys are on it for a week. So it was good,
man,
but it's not the same.
It's so true, though, isn't it? Like, think like what the celebration should be like. There should be like a compulsory week off for everyone. Just especially if you win, to be like, right, you have a week off. You must go on a 3 or 4 day bender. It was nothing. So it's nothing like the winning the Champions Cup then, or winning the top 14.
No, definitely wasn't anything like that. But I agree with you. It should be because it's a massive thing. It's the biggest trophy in Europe. So you'd think there'd be there'd a bit more give to the celebrations afterwards. But nah, boys had to head back straight away. So it kind of took away a bit of it.
Okay, now by the sounds of it, Mark. By the sounds of it, the Scotland boys have gone harder than they've gone fourth.
I
wouldn't put it past them.
That's not right, is it? Yeah, we came fourth, but I mean, I ended up in Arc. Is it Arc? And some of them in Le Rouge.
Le Rouge. I heard Le Rouge. A bunch of Scott boys.
So Manny, where did you go? Okay, so because obviously you celebrated on the pitch, and then drinks in the dressing room afterwards, and then what happened?
And then straight to an after match function, like just a private thing between players and families, and that was open until 5, and I was there till 5, and that's where my night ended.
Oh, okay, right now. Okay, now it's done. Just open till 5. So
Downplay it.
Who were you?
Mate, well, if there's any chance, anyone, maybe it was one of the French boys that found the videographer's bag, and we had a bit of an adventure. Myself and Max Laheath travelled down in the new Renault 5, the new Renault 5,
yeah.
bloody good motor, by the way. Yeah, nice little motor. And let's just say things got weird, and we've been very dusty ever since. Max, that's why he's not on here, is it? Training, sweating it out. But less about us, more about you.
So who are you with? Who was with you, the sort of late brigade until 5 a.m.?
It was a mixture because you got guys who are like going at it hard, but then there's also like boys that are missing. Like all the single boys have kind of just had a drink there with the boys and then gone to the just all boom. Everyone's just kind of dispersed into their own little scenes in Paris. But everyone just kind of, you had the family boys there with their families, and some had their kids, but then some had babysitters, some didn't, and then all the single boys have gone. I've heard like they've met up with some of the Scott boys at Le Rouge and some stuff like that. So everyone's has their own little story of how the night went down.
Oh mate, how good!
What was you said it was a bit of a weird one. I mean, there's the obvious one of having obviously Antoine Dupont, kind of going down in the game against Ireland, and then was there still that sort of sinking feeling that almost you left a bit with the England game and Dupont's injury, and so it wasn't quite as, it was a more muted celebration.
Yeah, no, 100%. It was definitely like it did have that kind of weird kind of taste in our mouths. Like even right after the game when the whistle had gone, we were like happy, but then I don't know what it was. I think the whole tournament was like, it was awesome. We went on to take away from the fact that the boys did an awesome job, but it did. Antoine had like been out now for about 6 to 9 months, losing that England game, and I don't think it's nothing like a Grand Slam when you win that last game. Like it's up to that last game, and you're the best. You're the best out of the best. But I think losing the England game was kind of, and then I think you knocked it on the head. But we enjoyed it, and we'll take the win. But it was kind of.
Manny, see that atmosphere though. Like we were there. Me and Max were in the stadium. Mate, it felt like before. I played at Stade de France, but it felt different. It felt like a World Cup final, mate, because obviously you needed to win to win the Six Nations. But like the whole show, everything around it was mental.
Yeah.
Did you feel it like had a little bit more of a feeling around it before the game?
I think since November, well, I haven't had I've only had a handful of international games, but since that All Blacks game against obviously the All Blacks, I felt like every time now that we play at Stade de France, they just turn it into a show. And like you said last night, like we definitely felt that last night. They've got the lights going, the crowd's going crazy, and it honestly gives it's like it makes it feel like a home game, and you do get that advantage from the crowd.
You think, right? When we were sat there looking around, and they've obviously a French flag on every single seat, no matter what, where you're from. But looking around, we were just looking at it going, I don't think there's anywhere else in the world that are that like passionate and got it that pumped up, and like everyone's singing March On. And look, I don't know. I've actually never been to New Zealand. I've never been to an All Blacks game, but I don't even feel like they would be that passionate about their home team. Like it was another level to what I've ever seen before.
I was more impressed the week before in at Aviva. I don't know if you guys heard it, like if you were there at the game or if you heard it on the TV. It honestly felt like that first 15, 20 minutes, it was kind of like Ireland crowd were loud and they were cheering. But then as soon as we started to get in front, I honestly like split second forgot we were in Aviva because they're just singing the Marseillaise, they're chanting. And I think that's just kind of what got over the line. It feels like a home game once we start getting in front and the Frenchies start getting rowdy and they get noisy. It just feels like a home game. And the Frenchies, like they're emotional. So when the boys are feeling that from the crowd, like they're just letting everything loose. And when it sticks for us. So, it's good news.
Yeah, what was that game? Talk us through that game, because it went in. The build-up was massive, and everybody was, we can't call it. It's too close. These two teams are so well matched. And actually, it was probably the most one-sided game that, apart from the interleague game, that you guys played in a sense, where you guys just in the second half just motored on.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I was off the bench, so when I came on, I felt like a massive shift in. Obviously, they had the yellow card, so they're a man down like for about 20 minutes, 10 in the first, 10 in the second. But when I came on, we felt like a massive shift in terms of like when we were attacking, it was go forward every time. And when you're going forward, it's a lot easier to play off that. And when I've played like Leinster or like Ireland in the past, you're not. It's a bit harder to get that go forward. It's them getting the go forward off their really good shape, their tip balls and backdoor balls and stuff like that. But I felt like we defended really well, and then on the attack, we have like big, powerful boys in our shape as well that we were getting behind them every time. And yeah, when I got on, it kind of I felt the shift on our side. But watching the first 20 minutes, I you can feel like how like the arm wrestle was going back and forth, penalties being called like on us, on them, and yeah. By the time I got on, we kind of just got to roll on and a couple things stuck, and we managed to score a couple tries.
In the build up to that game, right? So someone like Jegu, right, did he know in that 7-1 split that if something happens to a back, he's going to play in the centres? Was that always going to be, or it was, hands up, who wants to go in the backs?
Yeah. Nah, it was planned within the week. We have like worst case scenario teams, so we have like back rows in the lock. We have like Berto and at the like Mavaka in the wing and in the centers, and we have like a worst case scenario. If these boys get injured, these are where these guys go on. So yeah,
Where was your
it
move?
kind of
Where
went
was
Yeah,
your
I
down.
was
move
going to say, where were you then?
where do you move from?
Everyone's moved, and I'm stuck at 5. Everyone's just going like, yeah, listen.
Bro, hey, I reckon you could do a job on the wing, big fella. I'd love to see it.
Man, it'd be one crash ball, and then I'd be catching my breath for the next 10 minutes.
Take us back to the Scotland game then. So, like, because they put up a fight, Scotland, and that first half, I don't know, was tell me about Mulvaca. Was he a little bit like, ooh, after the game where the boys going, can't, come on?
Yeah. Nah, that was, and that's the thing. Like speaking of the Ireland game, after that Scotland game, it was like nothing compared to like it was, if not a harder game than the Ireland game, because we didn't manage to get that front foot. We didn't manage to get on top of them, even when the Baguette squad came on. Like we scored a couple tries, but it was just off like a bit of shape, bit of hands, but it wasn't as dominant as how we felt in the Ireland game. And it's like, yeah, it's just to Scotland. We spoke about it. We said that these guys won't go away. Hopefully within that 60 to 80 minutes, that's when like they'll start to break, and we scored a couple of tries, but they still didn't go away. We're still losing our contacts. We're getting held up. And yeah, battle. Yeah, there was a lot of chat after the game about that stuff and how that went down. And he thought that Ben White had like kicked him on the ground, but it was Tomo that pushed him
Yeah.
onto
You
him.
could
And
tell.
then
You could
yeah,
tell
I
by
was
his
just like,
reaction. He thought Ben White had done something to him, but it wasn't.
yeah.
That's
He said
exactly.
he
We were
said
right
he
there.
already got Yeah, he said he got ticked off because Ben White kicked the ball while he's trying to pick it up, and then he thought Ben White's like kind of kneed him while he's down. But then he's watched the interview, the replay, and it's bloody Ramos just getting in there as soon as push and shove comes on, you see Ramos in there. So
Quick,
Wait, was he
quick word
shooting
on
it?
your quick word on your Toulouse teammate Blair Kinghorn. Like, what's he been like? And he was again on fire, wasn't he? Nominated as one of the nominees for player of the tournament as well.
yeah, he's unreal. We're saying if he probably stayed on, they probably had a better chance of getting on top of us, but he's just been playing unreal. We were joking with Greg Aldred about those high balls that he had to catch on the kickoffs, and yeah, Blair's just been playing unreal. He's seeing space. No, we spent Sunday night with Blair and his partner and a few of the boys, and it was just good to get around it. He's always a good laugh, and nah, he's just playing unreal. I'm happy for him getting that nomination, and hopefully he takes it out.
So, because a quick line on arguably the star of the Six Nations in Louis Biel BRE. When you're sat next to him, there's probably quite a sizable difference between the two of you, and yet I'm assuming on the training pitch you don't really want to be anywhere near him.
Nah, it's crazy. Like right now, the way he plays, he's got like that. He's got Antoine Dupont aura, where nothing will go on, but you've got him on his team, so you're like, something's got to happen. Like, give Louis the ball and let's just see what happens. And like that's like, and the thing is, he's such like I say little kid because he's physically small, but we're around the same age. But he's got like that little kid innocent like manner about him where he's like real kind, he's really nice, he's funny, and then like he plays like that and you just have massive respect for what he does, and he's just rapid, and yeah, it's unreal. Like when you have those guys in the team, you're just saying, however this game goes, he can do something in it and it'll shift the energy.
What's he like in training? Is he like that in training? Like, because you just look at him,
He
like
does it.
exactly like you said, he's just so unassuming. Like I was calling him Peter Parker, mate. He's literally like Peter
Yeah.
Parker before, and then he chucks on the Spider-Man outfit. Next thing, is he like that in training?
That's one thing. He's not just fast. Like there's a lot of fast people who can just do a one-off sprint. They can just beat you on the outside. But Louis on kickoffs, on our like our kick plan and what we want to do, he's chasing the ball. He's returning. He's got a massive work rate, and that's why every game he's spewing up because he's so tired. He's doing the same thing at training. So he's not just fast. He's a massive worker, and he works real hard.
Word on Shaun Edwards, who's just picked up another Six Nations, which he's been doing a lot. But that, a lot of the kind of, I guess, framework he put in particularly in that first 15 minutes against Ireland you spoke about, where Ireland couldn't get any points, and yet it felt like, they were just pounding away, and it was that defensive set which was just imperious.
Yeah, I think what Sean brings to the French team and like its defense, like the French are known for their flair and the attack, but I think Sean's really brought the intention behind the defense and really implying that defense wins games. And I think behind the boys, like it's like with Moefana, he's got Sean's always got a bottle of champagne for the best defender every week. So like it just kind of brings the boys, yeah, just intention behind the defense and wanting to dominate contact and stuff like that, and not only waiting to dominate when we've got the ball, but more off it. So he's a funny guy, Sean, but when he knows how to get his point across.
All right, what was he like on the beers after then?
Oh, I didn't see him after. I didn't see him after the game, but before the game, our jersey presentation, Fabian had like had a funny thing going where they had music playing and the boys getting their jersey had to do a little like dance or whatever. And at the end, they kind of nominated a few of the staff, and they got Sean up there, and he did a full performance of a song, and it was so funny of an English song, and he's going like this, and then he's giving it like putting the mic out to the crowd, and the Frenchies don't know what the song is, so it's dead quiet. It was good. It was good. It was good fun, man. But Sean, he doesn't shy away from the spotlight. It was funny. Like you
What
ask
you
any
don't
of the
you? But you don't
Frenchies.
know what the song was.
No, no, I don't know what the song was, and obviously the Frenchies don't know what the song was. But he just started belting it out, a cappella, and then he's handing the mic over to the crowd, dead silent, and then he's just picking it back up and he's going. He's good fun, Sean. When he's on, he's on.
So is that the psych up for your title deciding match against Scotland? It's literally like Shaun Edwards doing an a cappella rendition of an unknown song.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys will know the song. The way he was throwing it out there, he was like, "You guys should know." And then all the Frenchies are, "Yeah, I know. You're gonna have to
Why do I
understand."
want to say it's like where it began? Oh, I can't begin to know it. Was it that?
Nah, it wasn't that
Hands
one.
touching hands.
It was
Don't know
definitely
why.
something.
That's
Yeah, I
just
don't
one.
know.
That's a rugby one that always gets put out to the crowd. Oh
Nice.
man, I want to know what that is
Yeah,
so
you gotta
bad.
ask Sean. You gotta ask Sean.
We'll try and get on it. We'll try and get on it. That is so good. Oh, can you just imagine? Like everyone's like, how did France win the Six Nations? And like you think behind the scenes, it's like Shaun Edwards like, we must fucking batter them, and Gautier getting in, but it's not. It's him just singing, Dupont at the front, like playing the tambourine. Fucking hell, man. That is so good. That is so good. Mark, we're getting
Manny, we won't keep you for much longer. Looking forward for the rest of the season. Obviously, you've got a lot on your plate with Top 14, the Champions Cup. You guys are rolling and steaming through that, and then hopefully the tour to New Zealand, which should be quite interesting if you're heading out there in the summer. How are you feeling about the upcoming kind of rest of the year?
Nah, good. I'm feeling really good. I've had like a few like a little niggles and stuff that's kind of stopped me playing like for a little week, and then I'm back, and then now I've got this holiday. So this holiday is like a good reset, and then get back into the back end of the season, and hopefully we can win something again.
And then wait, after this tour, you're gonna come out. You're gonna go and pop back to Australia, see some peeps. Come and get some Lions lash on.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, I'm not part of that tour, but if I am, I'll definitely be stopping in Oz.
Whilst just because last week we had Sione Tuipulotu on, and he was like it was pretty cool, like the way he spoke about it. But we're talking about the Endura and like the Super Rugby at the moment.
Mm.
Like, how fucking cool were the kits at the weekend? Did you see them?
Yeah. Oh,
They've got
them.
who was it? Was the Canes had Black Panther? Someone
the
had
Blues had
Spider-Man jerseys.
Spider-Man, and it was unreal. I don't know why
But
the top 14 or something, or even European don't do something like that. It'd be sick.
wouldn't it? I genuinely looking at it, you're like, that is so cool. Although the only thing that comes back to bite people in the arse, and I can't remember who it was. What's the Fijian that plays for the Highlanders? Taranawai or something like that.
Yeah, the centre.
But he bowls someone, and when you're dressed like fucking Captain America and you're getting bowled, like it's just there to be made into a meme. But where I'm going with this is Moana Pacifica. Surely you're looking at that and going, yeah, maybe one day. Because Sione said, "Fuck, we'll see."
Yeah,
One day.
I did see that clip. Yeah, I think. Oh man, I love Moana. I definitely like to represent Samoa, one way or another. But man, that Fiji Drua camp looks fun. I love those Fijians. But that Fiji Drua camp looks fun. Looks like good time.
Oh, get the big man over. Look at him. He wants. So that's it. Sione's chosen Moana. That's it. Every question now, we're going to be like, you going to the Drua, bro? I'm with you.
I'm coming with you to the Drua. I'm coming with you to the
Oh,
Drua.
Tosoviti. Thank you so much for jumping on. I hope you have a wonderful time in where are you? Guadeloupe.
Thanks, Guadeloupe, yeah.
Nice. Caribbean, right? I mean,
The
it's
French
a French.
Islands.
Yeah.
How good. Well, enjoy yourself, mate, and all the best for the rest of the season. Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. And we hope you add to that the old medals. Imagine that, doing the triple.
Champions Cup. We'll be there. No, Cardiff. We'll go. We'll be there. We'll manifest it again for Manny.
Let's go.
We'll see you in Cardiff.
Cheers, brother. You take it easy.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks, bud.
Appreciate it. Bye.
Right, boys. Okay, you've done a tour of the matches on Saturday. How clearly do you feel? How clearly do you remember things?
I have some recollection.
Yeah, me too. What a super Saturday, by the way.
Yeah, very good. Very, very good. It was awesome.
And it was the fact that England did what they did, and then suddenly it just left the door open for like a big finish. And it was like, honestly, Max, Stade de France, it felt like a fucking World Cup final, didn't it?
The production's just a different level. The level of patriotism the French have for their great country is quite singular. They are a very proud people, and you really felt that with the Stade. It was truly brilliant. It was quite singular. I was impressed.
I reckon an hour out from the game, we went to this little place, Novotel, over the road, and you could see the stadium, and all the light show and everything was kicking off an hour in. You know, like a lot of places, it's like 10, 15 minutes before you get a little bit of a light show, some flames and shit. Mate, it was a full-on show for an hour, and we were like, we better get in there. I think we're missing something.
Well, as usual, can we do our rounds, Ryan? Who did you spot? Who did we see?
Who
wasn't
Yeah, it wasn't as star-studded as your Murrayfield experience.
No,
because we haven't not got quite the same hookups. Although we were just randomly outside our hotel in the middle of nowhere, like the arse of
this was
nowhere.
funny.
And we're dressed in Scotland jerseys because we're filming some content. He's got the away jersey, I've got the home jersey. We look like a couple of fucking knobends. You sort of look across the road as we're buying baguettes from this thing to carry on with the content. And, there's Serge Betsen. All right, Serge. And he just sort of turned around and looked at us and he thought, oh no, a couple of Scotland fans. We were like, bearing in mind I've met Serge Betsen
You know him.
4 or 5 times.
It looked like he wasn't sure. I think it slowly dawned upon him during the conversation. I was thinking he was like, oh no, I remember this guy. Yeah.
And remember, we're a bit dusty, okay? So I'm looking at him and he's looking at me and we're looking across the road and I'm like, Serge. And you can tell he's just like, what the fuck? But Max, we never spoke about this. The thing that sort of dawned on me the most was his bag. It was a bag.
Mate, I wanted to talk to you about that as well. He had 2 of them. And they had like old Six Nation balls and old French rugby balls at the end of the lever.
Thank
They
you.
were, like,
Why did we
really
never speak
well-made
about this? Yeah.
So he had the panels of the bags had been like repossessed and like strapped onto the end of these really, really nice luxury leather bags. We're talking rich bags.
So it looked like rugby balls were poking out the end of his bag.
Yeah. So the end of it was just like the panels of rugby balls.
The cosmetic rugby balls on the bag, basically.
Yeah, essentially.
So when you're stood there hanging out your ass, you've 3 hours sleep, you've got a baguette under your arm, you've finally made it to the hotel and you see Serge Betsen and you've sort of just shouted thinking he'd remember you. Yeah, things just got weird. So we saw Serge Betsen. That was nice. So we did chat to him. I texted him afterwards to say, by the way, I think I might have had a couple of head knocks. And then Chris Cusser sat down with text Cuss. We were trying to meet up with him before. Lo and behold, we get into our seat. Who's 2 seats behind us? The legend, the British and Irish, Perpignan, bloody hell, Sale Sharks, Glasgow Warriors, and there was one other, wasn't there? Legend, Chris Cassiter. So yeah, good to catch up with him, and we took him out for a night on the tiles. We led him astray also. How creepy was that little fox?
Yeah, why? Yeah, I didn't like it. It was odd.
Yeah, I haven't got the photo.
I'm not really the biggest fan of taxidermy.
And then the only other people we saw were some of the boys. We saw Schmog in the nightclub afterwards. We caught up with
What club did you go to?
I could not tell you its name, Mark.
So did you know the boys were going to be at that club?
Yeah.
What was the name of it, Max? There was one called Le Rouge that they went to.
Baron. Oh no, no. So I'm thinking something else. Go on. But okay, and all the Scotland team were there.
A fair few of them,
yeah.
not all of them. Stafford,
Quite a few of the boys. I think they had
Blair King on. Yeah, it was good.
I think it was called Arc, maybe.
Okay. Fellas,
Did you know
let's
this,
just.
by the way, Mark, did you know this? When I came out the club afterwards, some bloke just selling chicken and rice out the back of his boot. Amazing. Absolutely incredible. Probably one of the best chicken and rice I've ever had in my life.
Did you eat chicken?
Chicken and rice. And he had a card machine and everything. I was like, this is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Like, it came out with a nice Tupperware, nice jollof rice, wasn't it?
Yeah, bloody incredible. So anyway,
question in your life.
We've literally tried to get into the rugby and we're back about the piss up.
No, stop it. Right.
Okay,
Guys,
so there were some of the people that we saw. But should we start in chronological order?
But let's talk more as a whole on the tournament, and let's start with that because you guys with the hot takes, and anybody who hasn't watched that, head across to the boys talking about each individual game. Or don't, if you've watched it already, don't shout to everybody not to watch it. But obviously, Italy-Ireland was a much closer affair than we thought. Ireland getting it done, but then. From an Irish perspective, Max, they've ended the tournament third, which seems kind of crazy now based on how well they played to beat England and the kind of caliber of players that they've got.
Yeah. So I think going in, we previewed Ireland as this sort of aging team, and they started this tournament strongly, but maybe our point holds firm, It looks like there's going to need to be some sort of changing of the guard in terms of, like, obviously with the high-profile conclusion of 3 of their most stalwart servants in Conor Murray, Cian Healy, and the great who was the other one?
Pom.
Oh, and Pom, yeah, big Omani. So it's interesting, like. Where are Ireland right now? I think, they're going to have to start transitioning guys. A lot of that team is in its sort of approaching its mid-30s now. A lot of the guys they sort of hang on to for for most of their rugby success in the last few years. So yeah, I think that's just where Ireland might be at this point.
I think I saw something where they said that 8 of Ireland's starting 15 were over 30 years old.
Yeah.
So I reckon they will. They need to start looking at
how they're going to transition smoothly, because obviously, like, those players are responsible for so much of Ireland's like pretty meteoric rise to sort of top 2, top 3 spots in international rugby. So how they do that, though, that's a big job, and it'll be interesting to see how they sort of look at the results of the Six Nations and how they performed. Yeah.
How do we think Andy Farrell will look at that tournament from his Lions perspective, right? Because pre-tournament, the question was essentially he's going to pick an Ireland squad with like a smattering of other home nations. That's probably how I think the majority would have felt. That has probably changed a little bit, would you say, Ryan?
It's like taken like dives and gone up, and it's gone all over the place during this tournament, hasn't it? So like at one point I think it was the opening 2 games, we were like, it's just basically going to be Ireland, and then different teams play different teams, and some players stand up. You get big injuries like Ollie Lawrence, that was sickening. But for me, yeah, I think you're right. I think we probably started off thinking that. We saw it in the first 2 games, and then it drifted away a little bit. I think you'll start seeing a few more. There's been some players that have played themselves in, some players that have maybe played themselves out. But it's a hard one to call. I think there's it's going to be fucking interesting to see what they do, because again, there have been some players that have put their hand up. Like you look at Wales, you wouldn't look at Wales and go, oh, they're up. But Jack Morgan, he's been class the whole tournament, like just as an individual, you know. I know we're going to do it in a minute, but there's loads of arguments for different players that are playing really well from Scotland as well, even though they haven't finished. You look at that table, they've finished 4th, and only with 2 wins, but like Blair Kinghorn, most meters ever. Yeah. Did I read somewhere? Most meters ever made in a Six Nations. And like the way that Scotland are playing rugby, it's really positive, but the results haven't gone their way. So
just so we're on Blair. Yeah. We're on Blair, Ryan, just so we got him, so we can reference our dear Blair, who was obviously a great friend of the show. Most meters gained, most meters carried, most line breaks, and most offloads in the tournament. And his meters, by the way, were almost twice as much as the second person behind, which was.
And am I right in saying the most meters ever made in a Six Nations?
Yeah, I think that's correct.
I think it is. Is correct. So he's a starter for the 15 shirt for me in the Lions.
Absolutely,
has to be. But yeah, on your question, sorry, I think there's maybe opened up a few more spaces. I think you'll still see the majority of Ireland, like they're just a class outfit, aren't they? And it just showed how important during the Six Nations, because you think we never used to have bonus points in there, shows how important those bonus points are, because Ireland got 3 bonus points, England got 4, France got 5. So they ended up winning the tournament.
Fair play. Let's Italy. Quick word on Italy's tournament as a whole. It's sort of up and down, and a bit deflating from I think what we hoped it would be. But ultimately, they finished it, even though they lost on, with almost parity with the strong Ireland side.
Yeah, I can't even remember what we said, Max, but we're pretty disappointed, weren't we, with Wales?
As a whole, I just think, we want them to progress a bit more, but maybe this is like, I mean, in recollection of previous tournaments, I feel like this is still a reasonably positive outcome for them in terms of their competitiveness. Obviously, they had that 2 particular beatings, namely the one against France, but there's still, I don't know, there's still lots of positive aspects about how they're playing, and they've got some brilliant players now who are truly like worthy of being in this league, and you could actually go as far as to say some of them are actually like almost world class. So I think Italy is still sort of meandering in the right direction, but you know what they say is it can't always be like growth for teams can't always be like this exponential sort of linear trend.
Yeah, but Max, for me though, there's every now and then you get a blip, right, and you have like one drumming. They had 2 huge drummings, like absolute thrashings, and then go and do that at the weekend. You're like, what? You just can't work them
that's
out.
it. No, that is what's frustrating about them, though. That's the main. Yeah, that is the headline.
They've got some serious superstars, and do you know what? Like, we were optimistic at the beginning. It was taking a little bit of a dent, let's just say, but we know how good their 20 side is. So actually, coming up to a World Cup, you've just got to think what's behind those players that are there. And it's still a young squad as well. It's still a very young squad compared to some of the other nations. So, yeah, still optimistic for Italy, even though they didn't have the best Six Nations, but they could have. I mean, they could have. Who was it? Was it Capowicz that puts that ball out the back? And if Menenchello gets it,
he was brilliant,
gone,
right?
and you're suddenly looking at something.
He really ignited the crowd whenever he got the ball. I think him and Menenchello.
Yeah, Menenchello was very good as well. Yeah,
against every side, he looked that at the sort of class level that could match anything that was thrown at him. So still lots of reasons.
Yeah, and if there was a standout player for Italy, Menenchello's the one. He's in there with the BLBLEs, the Blair Kinghorn for me. Probably, we'll talk about England and stuff in a minute, but there were some standout players there. I think Maritoje, for me, I wasn't ever that fussed about him. I think he's been outstanding. And I think maybe it's got something to do with the captaincy.
He's taken off the scrum cap sometimes as well. I saw.
Do you reckon that makes sense?
So let's move on to that. Get to the Wales-England game. Bizarre as a Welsh supporter. It was. I mean, it's horrible, right? We got absolutely pasted. But weirdly, I don't know. It was like we were sort of doing lots. Like there was a lot. We had the ball a lot. Wales had the ball a lot, and actually, guys, honestly.
Hold on, it's the worst ever defeat.
Yeah, but can I just give you some stats from it, which is, you might surprise you that Wales had more territory, they played more balls, they had more carries, far more meters carried, far more tackles broken, far more passes, parity in the offloads, they won more rucks and mauls.
So basically what you're saying is they were absolute dog shit in defence.
I guess so. Well, they weren't as... If you're being harsh, yes. Otherwise, you'd say, yeah, England were incredibly clinical. But I was surprised that possession was 50-50 as well. So they made more... They made, more distance and they did more with the ball. But ultimately, that was an absolute spanking that hopefully... Wales can come back from. But Max, what was
back to back wooden spoons, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, back to back wooden spoons. Worst ever defeat at the Principality ever. 17 on the bounce, I think it is now. Losses.
You should be a hype man for Wales. All right, mate. Take it.
Nah, but mate, things aren't good.
Yeah,
things aren't good. I pumped them up. I thought they were going to do something against the English, and it just all fell apart.
I'm sort of weird. I kind of get what you're getting at, Mark, in terms of ball in hand. They do look positive, like they have a fluid attack, etc. But they recycle ball well. They can build on phases, but yeah, ultimately, worst defeat. So what happens? What's going forward? Sherratt doesn't want the job. He made that very clear. Who's the man? And then what are the structural changes Wales have to face? Do they look at maybe eliminating one of the teams out of the provinces and sort of trying to condense talent? It's working out for some places, isn't it? Like Premierships had to axe a couple of teams. Super Rugby's done it. Now Australian Rugby's going well. So is that an avenue Wales need to go down? It's just, you're like, there has to be some kind of significant change, whether that's, obviously there's got to be a big management shift now as well. But does that go down to a sort of organization level as well,
Lots to ponder there for the Welsh side and a lot to work on. I mean,
if we're going to pick a couple players out of there though, Matt.
Please do.
Oh, Blair Murray.
Mate, so good.
So good. So good.
Are we talking Bolter good, though, guys? Hang on. Are we talking Bolter good?
I don't think so. I just think there's too many. He's only just come onto the scene. I just think there's too many established names playing well in the 15 jersey. You got Blair, you got Keenan. I think it'll be difficult for Blair Murray to make the plane. But mate, he is brilliant, electric, ambitious. He's got an appetite for just doing whatever he wants. He's fantastic. Then obviously we got to talk up the great Jack Morgan. He's been effervescent for Wales despite the adversity that this team's going through right now. He's head and shoulders.
Elliot Mee, is it? Is it Elliot Mee?
Ellis Mee, the winger, young winger there. Yeah, but he's been great.
He showed up pretty well. I thought he played pretty well in game.
Very well. Who else has gone well? I think Valentine coming back. He's shown his class as always. Super consistent. He's been very good in these last two games in terms of like his influences.
Are there any lines there for you?
I reckon Jack Morgan and Thomas Williams could go.
I still think there's a chance you'll see Dowie Lake in there as well.
Yeah, potentially Dowie Lake, but he hasn't. They've been playing Elliot D more, so he's had some injury troubles. But I can see that being something as well. Like when he plays, he's awesome. He's like what you want as a sort of test match hooker, like real rock, hard carrier, like hard nose carries, barely gets bent backwards, great dart thrower. So I could see Dowie Lake, and he's got the sort of the culture, the intellectual properties, a captain, a leader of men. But yeah, Thomas Williams, brilliant player, and probably Jack Morgan. But Blair Murray, you've been brilliant.
Gladiators, Ladmirals of the Bantership, it is that time again to say a huge thank you to Wolf Craig Distillers, our day ones. They've been with us all the way. They've looked after us. Max, where do people need to head?
wolfcraig.com.
Jump over there. We always say it. You can jump in, grab a lovely bottle of whiskey, or their gin is absolutely sublime. So make sure you head over, actually go over there, have a little peruse around on the website, and make sure you buy yourself something lovely. Mother's Day is coming up soon, boys, so you need to make sure you look after your wives and mothers and buy them a bottle of gin. But after being in France, one of the biggest drinking whiskey countries in the world, did you know that? Mark?
I did not know that.
Well, there you go. We've just been to France, and I'd like to get a little more French adventure on. So why not go over and grab yourself a bottle of whiskey from wolfcraig.com.
Ow. Okay, let's turn our attentions to England and a phenomenal performance. So much more efficient than we've seen them for so long, and that it was total destruction, right?
Yeah, we spoke about it in our hot takes, actually. So you can go and listen there. We get a little bit more in depth there, in the beers. But we chatted about the player revolt, didn't we?
But we still haven't clarified if this happened.
It did. It happened.
It happened. It's happened.
Sorry, please be clear. What do you mean a player revolt?
Basically, the players last week or the week before,
revolt's a strong word. Should we say
we want to play more rugby? They made a stand. They made a stand to say they wanted to play more rugby, play with the ball more, and suddenly you see what they can do with it. And so, by all accounts, it's worked, hasn't it? Because they're suddenly playing some pretty nice rugby.
So that's not been driven from management. That was driven by the players. We know that.
Yeah.
Okay. And look at the result. Hey, let Ryan put his stamp on it. It's fine.
It was brilliant, wasn't it? Selection was funky though. Who saw that selection coming? Strange, a little bit different.
It was strange, but we were talking why, like around that Northampton sort of backline and how it functions around that.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. You've put Freeman at 13, then you can keep guys around him that he's sort of familiar with.
I like that back row, by the way. The Currys and Bennell. That's just
okay, boys. Have they? Because they were phenomenal, right? Both of them, both Currys, obviously, and Bennell. If you're Andy Farrell, surely that's got to be one of the hardest decisions, because ultimately, I mean, between the Curry twins, you would take on form, you would take both. But do they do both quite similar things that you would therefore say to yourself, and is this being harsh just because they're twins?
Well, yeah, because again, we're talking about there's that position is just full. Like we've mentioned Jack Morgan already. We've got those two boys. We've got Rory Darge. Like Jamie Ritchie's played really well in that position. I don't think you'll look at him for a Lions shirt. But there's so much depth that like people just going after the ball, and then Ben Earl can do it as well. He can do similar to what they do.
But don't you think that they both are in with a shout? At least one of them will be, but shouldn't both of them?
They're both in for a shout. How many do they take, Max? They'll only take 6 back rows, will they? 7?
God, we need to look into that. But I think just because of the minutes and stuff and how he's been going, I think Tom Curry would go before Ben. He's been starting more, hasn't he?
Yeah, but Ben's man of the match. He was man of the match last game and pretty much turned the tide in against France when he came on then. So
yeah, it's a
I don't know.
That is a mad conundrum. Like back row is mental. England's back row stocks right now are wild. It's an embarrassment of riches.
Well, whilst we're on it, let's talk about Pollock then.
Yeah, well, I think it's unnatural the way he's seamlessly just taken over games. It doesn't really matter what level they're at. He just seems to take to it like a Pollock to the water, you know? Like he's quite brilliant. Like
I get that. Pollock, that's a fish, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. There you are.
Yeah, well done, Ryan. Thank you for explaining that to
us. Mark doesn't. Mark only knows sea bass. Sea bass. You knew.
Actually, Matt,
bit of an angler over
here. You put it perfectly in our very, very good, dare I say it, ourselves for that. Our social media post about Henry Pollock that we put out, that he seems to manifest his rugby, right? He's maybe not he's not the biggest, he's not 6'7", he's not the fastest, but he makes things happen every time he's on the pitch. And I think the term manifest, you were absolutely right with that, Max. Have you ever met another player that does that sort of thing?
I think there's a lot of guys like that. It's just they can come across sort of differently, like, but there are lots of players, usually the great ones, that you get a sense that they're going to manifest. They just manifest their destinies on the field. Like it's not just about just how good they are or how athletic they are. It's that they believe that they are that guy, and to have it at such a young age is awesome. And like going back to what you were saying about his size and stuff, I think he is a very good athlete. I think he's very fast. But what's more than that, he's a good footy player. Always up. Like he's a good footballer, and I think pairing that with his mentality, I think it will take him a long way. But it's crazy to talk about. Yeah, but yeah, he is established now. Like, come on, score a brace. It'll be interesting to see like how, because Ben Earl, the Currys, you've still got like Underhill, you got Jonathan Sam, you got Tom Willis, you got Jack Willis just lurking inconveniently in Toulouse. There's just like, it is quite crazy. So like, who do you pick? Like, how do you know who to pick?
You're going to have to pick, guys. By the end of the show, you are picking your Lions 15.
Yeah,
you can be there and you can take all of the hits from that.
England standout players, standout performers. We've got to look at Will Stewart. I think coming in, there were some critics and pundits were doubting the man's scrummaging prowess and whether he was the man to take the vest off of the great and late Dan Cole. I think we've done it.
Late.
I don't know why late. Why did I say late? Yeah, the great Dan Cole.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Dan Cole from the England shirt. R.I.P.
Max's brain's
I'm absolutely frazzled, lads. So yeah, I think he's done it, lads. Will Stewart's going to the Lions. Now the question is, who starts at the tight head? Who starts at 3? Is it Xander Stewie, or does Furlong make the boat? Does he? Off of the back of one game.
Yeah.
20 minutes. So that's interesting. That's a conundrum. But I can definitely see Stewie going. England had the most, like, I think the most statistically, the most efficient, most dominant scrum in the tournament. A big part of that is obviously Proudfoot, but another big part of that is Will Stewart and Ellis Genge, and Karen Dickey. So It's interesting. And then obviously Mario Toji, as you said, Ryan, mate, brilliant performance. Huge Six Nations.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I think there's something about brought the best out of him. He looks better than he's ever looked before. So there's a lot of chat now around whether he'd be the captain of the Lions. I don't think so. But I'm saying that with no idea who would be my Lions captain. But it's
well, Max, who would be your captain?
Who would be my captain? Well, like the shortlist was it? It's Doris and Marrow, isn't it?
Captain, yeah.
I don't know enough about Doris though. If I don't know him as a bloke at all. You know, you want some kind of insight into how they are. But I mean, he's definitely got the chops for it. He's definitely the player who could do it. He's definitely going to start, isn't he? Let's be honest. So, and Marrow's obviously going to start as well. So for the tests, so either or, a worthy candidates. And then for England, I think, Finn Smith, huge, massive. It's weird though, isn't it? It still seems strange now, but it looks like he is the guy he's nailed the 10 shirt, hasn't he?
For England, yeah.
For England.
So, yeah, 100%. He is now your starting 10 for England.
Yeah, and
again, George Ford came on, didn't he? And
oh my gosh, and he was brilliant.
Right, so underrated. You always talk about player. But yeah, for me, Finn Smith is like the new age. He's proved that he can do it. So there you go.
So let's move on to the championship decider in Paris that you were both attended and hopefully remember some of it. France, the worthy winners, I think is the first thing I want to say. And I want to say that from an unbiased perspective, even though I'm incredibly biased about it. But would you say that they were the team that deserved to be crowned champions?
100%.
Yeah, without question of a doubt.
Yeah. I'm on that one. I mean, maybe if England had started sort of more like they ended, then it would be a different conversation. But I think France were the superior team over the tournament. Yeah.
And yeah, you were the atmosphere was incredible. Scotland very much played their part, and I don't mean that in a patronising way, because that's how it always sounds, doesn't it? They played their part. More than that, there was some, scares that Scotland were really there to not just make up the numbers and sort of aid that have France picking up the trophy. Hello, thanks for inviting us for the parade.
You could feel it was always gonna go the way, like the way just the stadium. It was electric, and I think Scotland played really well. I think that Mulvacher was fucking lucky to get away without getting a red. You can't fly and headbutt someone, and I don't think it was a.
Yeah, I don't think he was trying to fly and headbutt.
He wasn't trying to headbutt.
Yeah.
No, hold on a minute. How do you know? How do you know?
You
know him?
He's a very good lad.
Speculating, but it just looks like he was just like, "What are you doing?" And he just dives across. Like,
Okay, but his head hits. Ben White's
it does hit. Yeah, stuff happens.
So you're telling me that accidental tackle, right, in a game, and you clock heads with someone, red card off. But you can have someone retaliate on the floor, dive onto someone, hit their head against them, and it be a yellow card. No, it's wrong. And I'm not. It's nothing against the bloke. I'm just saying, if the referees want to referee this right, and rugby wants to go with all these.
I don't know, man. But I just when it's Carley though, I'm like, if it's Matt Carley, he's gonna hand them out. He's not scared of handing out a card, bro.
But so why is it not then? Because he's put it to the bunker. It wasn't Matt Carley that made the call, was it?
He said it wasn't a high degree of danger. It didn't hurt. It wasn't. He didn't. And because he didn't really, it's not like he went up to him and gave him a Glasgow kiss, was it, mate? He went across. He missed him mostly.
So he missed. Okay, right. Okay, I tried to stab him, but I missed.
It's not a court of law, big fella.
All I'm saying is, you look back at that huge turning point in the game, could have made a big difference.
Yeah,
and I just think you look at that and go, well, I'm quite surprised that they're just going, oh, okay. The way that he dives towards him and he head-on-head collision, yeah, maybe Whitey made a bit of a meal of it. Maybe he made a Peter Imani of it. Yeah, you know what I mean?
You really hanging on to that at the moment, by the way you kept mentioning
The
it.
Peter Armani thing where he dived. What? No, I don't. So, yeah, he held on maybe a little bit too much. But you've got to look at it and go, well, okay, a little bit naughty. But anyway, it didn't. And they still had BL Barry, so they were always going to win because that man is something else. 21 years old. The way that he's
that's
working,
mind-boggling, isn't it?
it's mental.
How is he 21?
He could be one of the greatest.
I feel like he's been around for ages.
Guys, he got plucked on the cusp of that Rugby World Cup, right? And he was not anywhere near. Well, I mean, not anywhere near, but he wasn't going to be in that France squad. And he starred in that under-20s out in South Africa. And they were like, "Well, we've got to take more of a look at him." And then that was it. And then suddenly he was in that World Cup. And then he was in.
Unassuming, just normal-looking bloke. You're just like, this is Peter Parker. It's just
so good.
It's just mental. He is so good. So people go, "Oh, Wilson, just shut up because you're obviously bitter again." I think Scotland put up a brilliant fight. I thought they played really well. If that try had actually stuck,
That could have changed
half time.
things.
We didn't know why. We were in the stadium. We were like, why is it not a try? We couldn't work it out because they never really showed anything. It just sounded like not a try. We didn't understand why. When you go looking back at it, you're like, fuck, Blair was so close just to doing it. But so huge congrats to Scotland on a good game. And like I said earlier, all the attacking stats, the way that they've been playing, really positive, but they've not been managing to finish it off. But I thought it was a some game, but France, they definitely deserved it.
Yeah, I think Scotland are just in a weird place, aren't they? They got a generational backline. Like they got some absolute wizards, like some really brilliant players in the backs.
Yeah.
They just lack a little bit of horsepower up front. When you're playing against France with a 7-1 split, you can stay in the game for only so long, because France have still got that sort of mesmeric rugby, but they got enough to punch you in the front door as well. Do you know what I mean? And then they open up more options. Whereas Scotland had that kind of a bit more grunt up front, you could see them being a much, much more dangerous team. But yeah, I don't know where Scotland go from here. Do they change management now? Like, what do you reckon is going to happen?
I don't know, mate. I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't need to ask me that question. But I tell you what will be reflected is you talk about the back line of Scotland and the forwards. That will be reflected, I think, in the lines. I think you'll see at least 3 Scotland players starting in that back line.
Yeah,
and I think pre-tournament people probably would have said that anyway. So it's not like it didn't fire at the right time. That backline was impressive throughout.
It's filth. It's absolute filth. And Tom Jordan, Max, he was good.
Do you reckon he goes?
I think it could be between him and Sione.
No, Sione's he's got to go. I mean,
Do you think they're quite different though? Like,
yeah,
I think Tom's very much.
I think Hugh Jones is in there.
But it doesn't.
Yeah, but I think what Tom's got. Oh no, but Hugh can play everywhere as well, can't he?
No, but don't they value versatility, right? So Hoggy, do you remember that tour he went, the first one when he was like a kid? He was basically there because he could also play wing, fullback, 10. And 10. Yeah. Whereas Tom Jordan actually plays 10, 12, or 15 if you want him to.
And 13.
Oh yeah, and 13, exactly. So it's a conundrum.
It's huge, isn't it? And it does, like Duhan, Vandermeer. I think Duhan on one wing, James on the other. I think you'll see it. Darcy Graham,
and Tommy Prince just scored 7 tries or whatever, 6 tries.
It's just madness. So I think we will see a reflection of how good that Scotland attack and that back line is, because there will be a few of them in the Lions thing. I think we can leave that there.
One last line, please, just to summarise France as the winners, because you've sort of said, yes, they've had a spattering, but from your point of view?
I think with France adopting the 7-1 from the mighty Springboks, I think it might culminate a change in how teams play the game now, especially if, like, for example, if you looked at England, you could take all those back rows and use them intermittently in a game, and still play. So like Benal had to play how long did he play in the centres for? So like you could start now splitting the bench and just loading it with like really dynamic forwards. And then you've got a whole fresh set of the guys who struggle the most in the game, who have to go through the most contacts. Is that the future of rugby now, with watching France like kind of almost cakewalk other than a weird sort of yip game against England, the Six Nations? Is that where rugby's going?
And we need space for the little guys.
I know.
But I don't mind it, because I think you still do have the little guys. I don't mind it. Like Jaegu slotting in back row centre. Benel's not massive, remember?
Yeah, he's not. He's not a monster. He's just like very dynamic. He could do a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Or for the Darcy Graham.
Look at Darcy Graham and BL Burry, like two of the best wingers in the game, and they're small. So you need different horses, different courses. But France have got a bloody good balance of power athletes and then some killers on the edge.
Brilliant. Right, fellas, it's the time we've all been waiting for. I would like your Lions starting 15, please.
Oh, I thought you were going to ask us what our fantasy teams were like.
You want to do fantasy first?
Yeah. Let's. Should we tell him, Matt? Should we tell him?
Didn't do it.
We were both sat there, and as the game kicked off, we both looked at each other and went, "Oh fuck!"
I was like,
"Did you not do it either, Ryan?"
No.
You're such.
Cut it.
No. This is funny. Keep this in.
I think you guys have done that because you knew that I would. This is the 1 week I've done well.
Well, I reckon Jimbo did probably well as well.
I had Henry Pollock. I was 7th in the whole thing.
Wow.
In that round.
That's impressive.
Stop saying cut, you dick.
Seventh. Go through his team. I want to know what his team was. That's actually
Henry Pollock scored 120 points for me.
Bloody hell.
Because he was my super sub. And then Ramos, 72 points. I had Dan Sheehan, 84 points.
Yeah, I would have picked, to be fair, I would have put Pollock in. I would have put Sheehan in.
Look how that worked out. Brilliant. Well, okay. But this was, besides the fact you two are both idiots that you were reminded and everything, but
we had bigger issues on our plate. Trust me.
We were overwhelmed with
right.
things.
But I'm going to give a shout out now to, I've gone through my 8 favorite names. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to shout them all out.
By the way, you're obsessed with the fantasy thing. All I need to make sure I remind you is you both owe me 40 quid.
Well, no, because it was double or quit. So technically, you both owe me 40 quid because I won the last round. Anyway, this is not. I want you to vote your favorite name from this season's fantasy league from our dear listeners, okay, and dear watchers. Okay, right. We know the two that I've loved: Ring Rose and Hock Tui Pelotu. Mm-hmm. Then we've got Prop It Like It's Hot. We've got I Sharat Myself. We've got Borth Dick in My Ass. We've got Molester Tigers, which really got me.
What? We've got a bunch of sickos in here.
And then we've got, it's not, so we all know the great players, Mornay Steen, Frost Rash Steen, Carl Steen, and then some guys just put Wank Steen.
Stain.
Yeah.
Oh.
So which was your favorite? Oh, and Max Laqueef. That was the other one. Somebody else has just come along as that. So
I'm going to go with, I'm always, the Hot Tour Pilot is just, I can't get, that's just too fun. But Molester Tigers really, really tickled me.
Can I tell you mine? Borth Mark's Dick in My Ass, that one.
No, it's such a...
What?
What was it
again? I can't remember what it was. What was it?
Shut up. Fourth dick in my ass. Fourth wick in my ass. Anyway, we don't need to keep saying that. Right,
sounds weird. Sounds really weird. Anyway.
Weird. That's a good time to end the show. Huge thank you to Ryan and to Max, particularly, I must admit, for coming on when you've had such an eventful weekend and your brains have started working a lot better in the back half of the show. And I think everyone who's watching will agree with that. So you finally cranked into gear.
Were they muttering and sputtering, were they? Christ, all right.
It just took a while to rev in. But a huge thank you, guys, as always. And a huge thank you to you all for listening and watching. And a thank you again to NordVPN. And head in, get that code in, nordvpn.com/Maul. Get your free 4 months. But for all of us here at Maul Enough, we will see you all next week.
See you in Hong Kong, Mark.
More or nothing.
We're gonna die. We're gonna die.
Oh, in Hong Kong, yeah, man, I'm so jelly. I'd love to be there to pickle my liver with you, ball.